Hello everyone, we are back with the 8th episode of Road to Superbowl podcast that will give you an uptake of my understanding of every single football team that you have just before the start of the season, how they are ranked right now, what I believe their strengths, what their weaknesses are, where's their floor, what's their upside, you can find out here, and also we take a look at their draft. And today we are going to talk about Atlanta Falcons, and I'm going to be negative towards this team despite having an offseason that absolutely made this team strong. From a team that kind of botched it last year, they are definitely a playoff contender, they are favorite to win their own division. Yet I have a huge problem with their offseason. So that sounds like a fun story, right? Let's dive into this, shall we? So, what happened with Falcons in the offseason? So they've signed Kirk Cousins. Signing that in a vacuum, I still have a problem with, but not the biggest one. Like, we've all seen what this team looks like with an incompetent quarterback behind the center last year. And you know you have talent. That talent is on rookie deals, whether we talk about Kyle Pitts, Rick London, Bijan Robinson, like you have ultimate weapons to make this work. You have really nice offensive line. So the only piece that you are missing is a QB. So paying for a proven one, I don't understand that. Still, you are paying 4 years, $200 million to a 36-year-old QB coming back from a serious injury with one playoff win. Yeah, you cannot use plural for wins because he doesn't have them. And also, as a QB right now, he's like, and best case scenario, when he comes back healthy, he's like 13-14 best QB. His best time he had in Minnesota under Kevin O'Connell, brilliant offensive mind, with Justin Jefferson. I mean, you can go him or Tyreek Hill as the best wide receiver in the league. So, was it really that hard to be successful there? Nothing like super bad about Kirk Cousins. I think he deserves to be paid. I think he is a good QB. But is he a special one? Is he someone I really trust to come in and give this team a Super Bowl? Well, as you can see on the first photo, I don't. But in a vacuum, I do understand the signing. I do know what you are kind of trying to do. Then let's fast forward to what happened like a couple of days ago when this team traded for Matthew Judon. I love this. Only third round for a guy that is going to immediately be your best edge piece, for a guy that brings maturity to this room, brings really top talent that you don't have, and he understands victory. Great. They've also, just the day after, they signed Justin Simmons to 1 year, $10 million type of deal, making this the best safety duo in the league by a country mile. I love that. So we are saying like, where is the negative? Well, here it comes. So these signings are really pointing towards the fact we know our window is right now. Our division sucks. Even our conference is not like super powerhouse because Eagles have their own question with the turmoil last season. Frisco lost another Super Bowl. How good will they be? Yeah. And you have Lions that are really looking good, but they don't have experience with looking good. So will they be, when the expectations is really there, will they be able to deliver? And you have Dallas who did nothing in this offseason. So I'm not saying like it's an easy conference to win, but it's definitely the easier one with powerhouses not really moving exceptionally this offseason. So I understand you are trying to win right now. You brought a QB that does that can do that. He's immediately the best QB in this division, which is not that hard, truth to be told. And that's great plan, right? I understand it. But first of all, your window of opportunity, I don't think is 4 years, and you gave Kirk Cousins a 4-year type of deal. You can get out of that deal after 2 years having only $20 million in dead cap money, which is ultimately what I think they can do and they will do, especially with what they have done in the draft. But let's get to that later. Also, if you are hearing some noises, that's just my cats. I cannot turn the volume down. They are having fun exploring this place, so yeah, I cannot turn them down, but don't worry, they are absolutely okay. They are just vocal. Especially before they've done this off-season, especially in the draft, the most likely plan is they have a way out with Kirk Cousins in 2 years from now. And that's where I'm starting to have a problem even with Kirk Cousins signing, because if you are thinking, yeah, 4 years, 200 million, but essentially we treat it kind of like 2 years, 100 million, and then some dead cap hit. Well, wouldn't you be better signing Russell Wilson? And I know you guys might be furious with me because I am a huge Russell Wilson fan. You most likely see the picture of him behind me. So I'm not gonna sit here and say Russell Wilson is as good as Kirk Cousins. There is no evidence to that in the last 2 or 3 years. It's just not. But is he anything worse than like 1 tier beneath Kirk Cousins? Not coming from an injury, younger, guy that can win when it matters, and almost $50 million a year cheaper? Well, yeah, that's Russell Wilson. And if you are treating this as really like 4-year type of career, yeah, you are not getting that much of a discount for Russell Wilson, because that discount comes this year when he is like uber cheap. This is really single opportunity to get a QB that's like what, 25th, somewhere like that, for 1 or 2 or whatever millions he takes with Pittsburgh. So you could have done that. And like I said, I don't think Russell Wilson is better than Kirk Cousins, but I think he's capable. And would I rather have Russell Wilson and $50 million to spend in free agency for guys like Christian Wilkins, for guys like even Robert Hunt, for guys like, I don't know, whoever. Like, let's just check the highest paid free agents this offseason, right? So Christian Wilkins, about 30 million a year, 27. Teddy Hunter, 24 million. Josh Jacobs, 12 million. Patrick Queen, 40 million. Saquon Barkley, 30 million. Like, obviously, yeah, you're probably not going for running backs. So DJ Reader, 11. Man, oh man, would I love DJ Reader for 11 minutes. But the point is, I'm definitely saying Russell Wilson plus 50 million beat Kirk Cousins any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Easily. And you can say, well, what about next year? There, where I would absolutely be okay with what you have done in this draft, drafting Michael Penix, because then for this season, you have a cheap QB that has a chance with the surrounding cast around him that has 50 more millions to be spent to deliver at least the division, most likely some playoff success. Yeah? And you have a successor plan. And if Russell Wilson is excellent, great. You can sign him up to either 1 year big time contract, or you are, yeah, he's back to the Russell. We got a top 10 QB in the league for kind of taking a flyer on him, and we kind of wasted our pick for Michael Penix, perhaps. Or perhaps Michael Penix in the long term can develop into a guy behind Russell Wilson, okay? But that's obviously not the most likely scenario. The most likely scenario would be we take 1 year of Russell Wilson and then we go to Michael Penix. Love that, because one, you are giving yourself really nice chance for the season. Second, you have a plan what to do moving forward. And it actually makes total sense for Michael Penix to sit 1 year behind experienced QB, and if he is great, good, you sign him up again. If he is not, then you have a plan. Alright? So that will be excellent. Or even like Justin Fields, like, bring Justin Fields here for that 1 year. Don't pick up his 50th option, bring him here. Because any day of the week, I will take Justin Fields or Russell Wilson and 40 to 50 million in money for free agents over Kirk Cousins coming from an Achilles injury. And I think that's not controversial and it should not be. And that's where you are like, well, but they signed Kirk for 4 years. Okay, so you want Kirk to be here 4 years, right? What the hell are you doing picking Michael Penix then? What the hell? Because if you are trying to win right now, why are you drafting him? Because like drafting nice caliber backup as a number 8 pick, no, you should really not be doing that. You can sign those types for 5 to 7 million. And if you believe that he can play, well, you want to see him play rather earlier than later. So if you expect him to sit 4 years on the bench, what are you doing? So, I mean, this again says that you are treating Kirk Cousins' contract as essentially a 2-year contract. But should you have 2 years of Kirk Cousins for 100 million or 90 million plus 20 million in dead cap money, or Russell Wilson for, let's say, 1 year, 2 millions, another year, 50 millions, and like 40 million in free dead cap money or free agent money, or 1 year of Russell Wilson and then you go to Michael Penix in season 2, you actually utilize this rookie contract a year longer. I mean, absolutely yes. So what this signals to me, they are trying to kind of have it both ways. They want to be successful in the future and they want to be good right now. And I think the only way or the only places you can do that when you have like Patrick Mahomes, when you have Josh Allen, when your window is kind of never ending and you need to figure out, you know, how to have the best chance over the span of 10 years. But here in Atlanta, like, you don't have that luxury. So I am hugely critical of this pick in this scenario, because these two scenarios to me just doesn't match at all. So I'm sorry, Michael Penix, this is nothing against you. I actually think that you are entering absolutely horrendous situation because one, Kirk Cousins didn't know you were going to be drafted. So yeah, good luck establishing a relationship with him. And two, if Kirk Cousins is bad, okay, then his whole contract looks like an absolute joke. And you are being thrown out there, and good luck to you, and it's probably your best scenario, like for Michael Penix, but it's really shitty scenario for Falcons, because that means that at least 1 year of that 2-year window that they really have before this division kind of, hopefully for other teams, you know, rejuvenate, is fucked. And the other kind of scenarios are like, you are good as Kirk Cousins, the Falcons are good, they win the division, but they come short in the playoffs. Let's say they lose in the first round or they lose in divisional. And then you can be, as Michael Penix, actually seen as someone who caused it, because instead of you, we could have had another excellent weapon like Rome Odunze. We could have had another top edge rusher or top edge rusher prospect like Dallas Turner, or we could have fixed the inside with Byron Murphy. So do you, like, are you getting popular down there when people are like, well, we were just short, if we just had, oh, we have Michael instead. So, great, that's not really a good position for Michael Penix, right? And the first scenario is Kirk is excellent and you are not seeing a field for at least 2 years and most likely 3 or 4. Tell me which scenario really makes sense and like paints a future for Michael Penix really well. So if this was for in Russell Wilson scenario, I would give this pick a B-, because I would still feel like it's an overdraft. I believe that there was bigger upside QB behind him in JJ McCarthy, or bigger like floor type of guy with Bo Nix. Like if you are, well, we don't need the exceptional guy because we have exceptional weapons, we have really nice line, and we will like work with our money elsewhere. We need really high floor, 25th, 24th best QB in the league. Well, that's where Bo Nix to me like comes to mind, that that's his like not immediate upside, but very soon that's what he can be, right? So I absolutely hate this pick, not because I hate Michael Penix, or not even because I would hate this pick in any other scenarios, but these two scenarios, how they approach this offseason, just does not match in my opinion. And unfortunately for the Falcons, my critique, or for the Falcons, well, unfortunately the thing does not end there, because then what they've done, they moved up in the draft, sacrificed a mid-round third third round pick in this offseason, in this year's draft, to move up 8 spots to pick Rook or and another pick that I just didn't want to give anyone an F or an E, but both Michael Penix and Rook or not through the fault of their own, to me are very bad picks. So with Rook, I had him like a early third round type of player. So that's where like my grade would go down a little bit. He actually fixes or like is put out there to a position of need. So we would say, well, that's not so bad of a pick. Well, when I'm ranking this pick, I have to put into account, to me, an absolute overpay in terms of like adding a third round to this deal. Like if it was fifth or like fifth this year and sixth next year, maybe, but third in this draft, in this super early draft, that's just way too valuable. And the second thing is Johnny Newton, Giselle Newton, that was still on the board. And you can say, well, Johnny Newton has injury concerns. They are very well, like equipped to pass on him to take Rook. Well, yes and no, because you have, I believe, the luxury to not be your best self when the season starts as Falcons, because that division you should be winning, really, even without Johnny Newton, first man out there, or without Rook. With Johnny Newton, I would say the best path for him, coming from his injuries, is to enter like week 8, week 9, enter something that is functioning, slowly building up, playing full speed like week 13, and you have him fresh, you have him nasty for playoffs when it matters. Because I definitely think that you should get there without his help. So that's where, if I'm spending that valuable resource, I want the highest upside guy that there is out there, and that was definitely Johnny Newton and not Rook or So nothing against these two players, though both of them I feel like has been overdrafted, but they just don't match again in this scenario for the Falcons. Because if you needed to hit on a guy, to be out there for 4 years, to actually essentially develop into your starting defensive tackle, perhaps someone as a good starter, that's Rook or really nice. Well, you should not draft him so highly, you should not pay the premium for it, and you should not do other moves that are signals like we actually kind of want to win this year. Because, well, Justin Simmons, 1 year deal. Matthew June, I think, has only 1 year left on his contract. So you are not getting these guys for cheaper than for upcoming season. So because of what the Falcons did, I'm really skeptical about both of these picks, and we will see where my criticism ends eventually. So let's breathe, let's check the rest of the draft, and let's look at positive sides, because this team has several of them in terms of quality of their squad. Okay, so rest of the draft, I really liked, man. I think Braylon Trice and Brandon Dorlus, really valuable picks that you are addressing the position that you really need to address. Both of them, I would say, are slight value in terms of where you were able to obtain them. And you are getting promising young talents that, well, again, you probably should not be able to account for this season to give you some highs, which they kind of do. So once more, imagine Russell Wilson and you are optimizing for that year 2, year 3 of Michael Penix contract. I would say that would be much better. You would still not have to pay Bijan. You would have to pay Kyle Pitts and Drake London by that, but you would have money for that. Let's move. JD Bertrand, nice pick, nothing really to say about that. Jesse McClellan, Casey Washington, Zion Log, really nothing what I want to add. I think adequate picks, nothing bad, nothing really to say about them. So now let's go and talk about the offensive coordinator here and what he has to work with. So the offensive coordinator here is Zach Robinson. Is he the top prospect? No. He is. He never played. He never called plays. So he cannot kind of start really ahead in terms of like ranking really high, but I think is higher that makes sense. He runs similar offense, or like he comes from similar offense that Kirk Cousins does as well. And he comes with Raheem Morris from the Rams staff, like they kind of pulled third of Rams coaching staff from last season. Sound higher, nope, not a problem here. And he has really a lot to work with. That's weapons, B+ overall, O-line, B+ overall as well. So let's check the weaponry, and we start with QBs. Kirk Cousins. He had really nice start of the season last year. Despite Minnesota playing poorly, he was delivering. They were kind of making so many mental errors, like fumbles. They had like 8 of them or 9 of them early in the season. Like Kirk wasn't short of this blame, but he was still really good. And whoever saw like quarterback TV show last year, I dare you not to like Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins. Like I have really nothing against him as a person. I just don't trust that he would win me a championship, and I would not trust him with this type of deal, especially coming from that gruesome injury. So good luck, Kirk. I hope you will be back. Also, there are some potential tampering charges against him that might cost Atlanta some picks and Kirk to miss some time. Just to top of the bonus of this process. And then you have Michael Penix and Taylor Heineke, like good backups. You hope nobody, neither of them plays within the first 2 seasons, which, you know, Michael Penix, that's kind of sad for him. They are there in case Kirk is not fully healthy or if he gets suspended for a couple of weeks. They should provide you with good enough play to not sunk your season. Now, let's take a look at really exciting duo in Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Bijan, I have them both ranked as important starters, but do I see them as similar quality players? No. Like Bijan is like this close to being an amazing starter within my grade, and then Tyler is like this close from just a good starter. And overall, this is really nice duo. And I'm dreaming about one scenario for these guys, because I am a huge fan of Tyler Algier being drafted late, having exceptional rookie season, and then you are prepared to be the vocal point of the offense, your number one choice, a running back, and then the team drafts probably the best running back prospect in like last 5 years in Bijan Robinson. God damn it, you know, like I come from late draft pick, I've proven myself, and now they are doing this to me. And it's not going to get better. If anything, Tyler Algier's like production and the amount of snaps should get lower. And I will start with Tyler. I think he has 3 possibilities. First one is he can request a trade. I don't think Atlanta would hand it to him because they definitely do love to have him as a cheap option for next 2 years. So why would they trade him unless someone would suit up with really nice offer? But again, who suits up with really nice offer for running back, right? Yeah, hard to find that type of teams. Second thing is you can kind of be hurt. You can say like, fuck me, I've done everything I could and I'm still not earning this opportunity. And every time he touches a field, you can see that. And essentially that would make him like a good starter, decent starter, and his future in the league would be really with a question mark. And then there is option number 3, and I hope, believe and wish this one comes to fruition, because I think it's the best case scenario for both Falcons and Tyler Algier. And that's one where he gets like 8 touches a game. He comes in with absolute chip on the shoulder. He tries to be as nasty as he can. He runs with the physicality that he can definitely give to his game, because he knows he only gets those 8 to 10 touches. And what this does to him. So first of all, this shows, if he does that, this shows that he is a true professional. Second of all, with those touches, he should be attacking the defense that first has to respect the passing game, which they did not have to last year with Desmond Ridder because of Kirk Cousins, and they also should be tired tried to tackle Bijan Robinson in the previous series. So he should be able to take advantage of that. And also, you are running behind one of the best run blocking offensive line in the league. So if I'm predicting someone to have 6 yards a carry on 250 snaps, I think Tyler Algier definitely can be the guy. Okay? I hope he takes this as an opportunity rather than as someone hurt me, because if he does, in 2 years he's going to be a free agent and he won't have more than 1,000 or 1,500 carries behind his belt. So his body should be really okay. And he should look like really nice guy that should get second proper contract, because he can say, well, I have really good numbers, though last year's numbers were not great. We'll talk about the recent later with Bijan. Second of all, my body is not completely hurt. Furthermore, when I got a full workload my rookie year, I showed I can handle it. So I wish that's gonna be the case for Tyler Algier, because first, I think he has it in him. Second of all, I really wish it to him. And then we switch to Bijan Robinson. And dude, this guy was a lot of what you wanted, but there were still some flaws in his game. He had some fumbles, he had some ugly drops. If he can clear that up, he can definitely earn the elite starter as early as late of this year, because he is exceptional. He is dynamic. He can break tackles, he can run with power, but he is freak. he can really jump you on the spot. Definitely a guy that if you are a Madden fan, you will enjoy absolutely to the fullest of your ability, and you just want to see more. You just really want to see more. And again, if the defenses are sort of, Tyler Algier does not let them rest, and you also finally have a QB behind you, not Desmond Ridder. Sorry, Desmond, it was crashed last year. Which also I think reflects on both of these guys, yard per carry type of number, where who respects Desmond Ridder's throwing ability? Let's take the box and we'll just not let Bijan or Tyler run on us, because if Desmond has one-on-one opportunity, we want him to take it, because more likely than not, it will end up in the ground or in our hands. So this could be easily the best running back duo in the league. If Bijan clears the drops, clears the fumbles, gets the touches, and defense has to respect passing game, and if Tyler comes with the chip on the shoulder and runs hard, this could be super fun to watch. I cannot resist to have yet another one knock on the offseason of the Falcons, because as the offseason started, there was a hope, or there was a rumor or belief that they might go for Justin Fields. And boy oh boy, would I love to see a mobile QB next to Bijan Robinson or Tyler Algier. Then, of course, you can say, well, they would not have to respect the throwing of Justin Fields, which is more of a case than obviously for Kirk Cousins, but definitely less of a case for Desmond Ridder. So I would love to see that. I get to see that with other, fortunately, I get to see that with other teams like Eagles with Hurts and Saquon Barkley, like the Colts with Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, like the Ravens with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. This year, this is one of my favorite features, to see an elite running back next to elite dual threat QBs. I'm, of course, with Anthony Richardson, we are not sure what his passing is, but definitely his running is really a weapon. So I'm excited about that. I wanted to see here with Falcons. I won't be able to, but I still think this room is absolutely exciting and one of the strengths of his team. Let's move towards wide receivers. And this is room that, again, absolutely makes sense. Drake London as your number one. It's really good, big-bodied, speedy type. He doesn't have the burning speed, to be your deep threat catch, but other than that, he kind of can do anything you want. I cannot wait to see him with a proper QB behind the center. And then Darnell Mooney. That's the guy that you look for this deep threat targets. And he had really kind of meh season last year. You can see it, only 400 yards, only 1 touchdown. But he was working with Justin Fields, who had DJ Moore. Sometimes he could have seen Cole Kmet, and he did not see Darren Mooney. But if you look into his statistics more deeply, he was able to still separate. He was out there, he was open, he just wasn't getting the target. So the hope is Kirk Cousins can deliver on him, and I definitely expect Darren Mooney to improve on my ranking. I just couldn't hold on the good start I had last year because the production just wasn't there, but everything I believe, or almost everything, is kind of on Justin Fields' court. He had some job issues, so I can really justify diminishing him to that decent starter. But do I expect him to end up there? No. And then you have Rondale Moore, who is a useful player that you can use in several different ways. Doesn't give you anything that he doesn't do exceptionally well. But he plays hard, he plays with energy, and as your third wide receiver, you take that. It would be more of a problem in different teams, but here you can definitely use Bijan as your third wide receiver, and you also have Kyle Pitts as your really big threat in terms of receiving game. So you don't necessarily need Rondale Moore as your number 3 guy to have 50 catches. That's not what what he should be there for. And Kader Hodge, Casey Washington. With Kader Hodge, he's kind of a nice backup type, as your 4th or 5th guy in this offense. I will say Kyle Pitts is sort of wide receiver, Bijan Robinson is sort of wide receiver, so you can definitely make a point that he's number 5 or number 6. That definitely works. Casey Washington, taking a flyer on him. I don't see him earning a big opportunity within this team, but maybe he can. We will see. And now you go to tight ends, and I absolutely love how this graphic comes out with their blocking, because Kyle Pitts, for a big guy, he blocks truly horrendously, especially when they are really trying to block with power. His run blocking is super bad, and that makes me think I don't want him to run block. So in those situations, you should have Charlie Warner to line up as a proper tight end, and Kyle Pitts to line up more of a slot, or even outside wide receiver, because he is really nice threat. And he had 2 not necessarily bad years, but 2 years where you would expect him to go up there towards Travis Kelce, George Kittle, these highs. That was what's promised when he was picked, I think, number 5, when he had really good rookie season, and then 2 last years were kind of meh. But Tyler Heineke, Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota. You see where I'm heading? It's really hard to be great with really poor quarterbacks. Neither one of them is top 40 in this league. They tried them, it didn't work. And it definitely diminished Kyle Pitts' production. Also, last year he was playing with some injuries. He didn't look as dynamic as you would hope, or as you see in year 1, but he should be back to his full strength for this season. Charlie Warner brought here for his run blocking. Absolutely makes sense. In 2 tight end sets, him and Kyle Pitts, they definitely can work alongside each other. Again, really nice room. You are not surprised when you see them graded with B to B minus, I think. There is a lot of talent here in terms of receiving, and there is a lot of talent in terms of rushing. I think I was B and A minus. Will I be surprised if we end up the year as A plus and A minus? No. If Kirk Cousins shows that he's back, shows that it was not Kevin O'Connell, it was not Justin Jefferson, it was really Kirk Cousins. Dre Lyon takes a step. Bijan is Alvin Kamara to CMC-esque in terms of being pretty much wide receiver in the body of running back and excellent runner of the football. I would not be surprised. So they have shit ton of weaponry, and let's just see how they will be able to utilize it with finally a QB that deserves a start in this league. And now let's talk about the protection for Kirk Cousins. And in terms of tackles, you have Jake Matthews, you have Caleb McCary. Are they the most exciting tackles in the league? No, but they are really good tackle duo that any given week should not give you a headache. They are kind of what they are. You don't expect neither one of them to like surprise you with late career blossoming, but you are not worried about these guys, right? Jake Matthews is much more of a pass blocker. Caleb McGarry excels more in the running game, which again, if you can disciple, like my right tackle is more of a run blocker, my left tackle is more of a pass blocker, ideal situation. So, kind of middle of the pack duo of tackles that should not be a problem for you anytime. They should not win your game, but they will definitely not lose it for you. Storm Norton, solid backup. I'm not like you hope, and that's one like big problem with this O-line, the depth. Storm Norton is probably their best depth, and I even don't see him as a good backup type. So you just need this offensive line to stay healthy. Then you switch to inside, and you have Chris Lidstrom. Probably the best run blocking guard in the league as of right now. He's an absolute monster. He's an elite player. One of the top 3 guards that I would take like immediately when I was like doing my crazy mock drafts. How could, like, for example, Falcons end up with Caleb Williams pick? He was definitely part of the package that I would want for Justin Fields and like really crazy run heavy style of offense that I was let's say delusional about as what the Bears could have brought up. Listed time, yeah, like what is there to say? He is exceptional. Like his pass blocking, yeah, sometimes leaves something to be desired, but he definitely works for it in terms of run blocking, and he's just a special player. The rest of the interior, Drew Dalman as your center, I would say about Drew the similar things I think about Caleb McGarry and Jake Matthews. He's more of that Caleb McGarry style. He excels in run blocking, and his pass blocking is kind of meh. So if there is a problem, if there's your worst part in terms of pass blocking is your center, you're happy with that, you can kind of point out that the right side is, maybe not the best pass blockers, though like Chris Lindstrom is definitely still the best pass blocker, even though it's not his strength as a guard on this team. But you can definitely live with that. And then you have Matthew Bergeron that had quite decent rookie season. And next to these guys, he should just grow and grow. He's definitely a bit of question mark, because if he just is what he was last year, that left side is kind of below average. Cannot say like super nice things, like they should get the job done, but they will not elevate it. Obviously the elevating guy here is Chris Lindstrom, and you are kind of like, we have good pieces all around with Matthew Bergeron, hope to get there this season. One problem that this O-line has is that if any one of these guys go down, which has not been the case for most part last year, the backups are just really poor. So should you have invested in backups for this group? I think so, especially when this is really looking like, yeah, we are going for it. One guy goes down from this offensive line, and especially with Chris Lidstrom, like you go from B to C minus, because you are going like 7 tiers down in terms of risk replacement. Elite starter, amazing starter, impactful starter, good starter, decent starter, good backup, and we are getting Son backup instead of him. So you just cross your fingers and hope nobody gets injured from this O-line. Let's take a look at the defensive side of the ball, but definitely things are much less great, but still they are still very, very nice. And these rankings are pre-Matthew Judon and pre-Justin Simmons acquisition. So when I told you, like, I think this team is really good, I really mean it. Like, they don't look like they have many like bad situations. So let's start with edge room. Without Matthew Judon, it would be like the biggest problem that I have for this team, that they really don't have anyone that can rush the passer on a consistent basis. But with Matthew Judon, that's what you are getting. So that D- to me changes to something like a C. And in terms of run defense, it definitely brings something to like a B+. He adds to that for sure. Another ability key, Lorenzo Carter, right now with like Zach Harrison, Blaine Trice, Brandon Dorus. That's what you have to work with here. These are guys that you want to be part of an OL and defensive line that has some alpha in there. Like if you have, for example, Bears have like similar type of, some Tracy guys, some like decent starters, good backups, and then they have Montez Sweat. And with that, it can look serviceable. Well, now finally Atlanta has Matthew Judon for it. So with him being in, those guys kind of slide to less prominent positions, which should suit them quite nicely. Lorenzo Carter, more like well-rounded. He's a better player out of these two. He can defend the run as well. With Edwin, he's much more of a pass rush specialist. As you can see, he had 7 sacks last year on 385 snaps. That's really good. I don't necessarily believe that either one of them has like potential to develop into really like nice second piece. So that you are still missing someone from this room ideally. And I believe you hope that Braylon Trice could be that eventually, like as early as probably year 2. Especially if you are not prolonging the contract with Matthew Judon, you would really need that. Zach Harrison, kind of nice depth piece that you should probably put out there in early downs instead of Ardon Abetiki to help more with run defense, and then when you need to rush passer, you go with Abetiki. Then look at interior, and that's where this D-line has some strength, even without Matthew Judon. Most of the strength is in David Onyemata and Grady Jarrett. Some would say I should have their rankings swapped, and I'm not going to like to. They are really close despite being in different years. I still saw enough from Grady Jarrett to not diminish him from impactful starter that he was last year with the injury, so I've seen enough. But I will be watching him. Like if he comes back and he looks slower, he's definitely going down a notch. With David Onyemata, he had a really nice season. He definitely played better than Grady, and he's on that like trajectory to move to impactful starter. Both of them are really good pieces that you have for this interior, and definitely something that would hold this D-line together even without Matthew Judon. With him, this kind of creates, let's say, 8 deep type of defensive line. Like this is definitely one of the deepest defensive line in the league, where like 8 guys, if they step on the field, they should not be a huge problem. Obviously, Luke Aurora comes into place as well. You hope for him to reach his upside as soon as he can, but tough ask. But he has 2 guys in front of him that should not rush him to play immediately and deliver those results. Again, if that's the case, wouldn't you rather have Johnny Newton to perhaps, if Grady Jarrett goes down later in the year, Johnny Newton replaces him, and let's go from there. But definitely really deep defensive line, which is something that has a merit for me. And with Matthew Judon, with Grady Jarrett, with David Onyemata, they have several like good number 2 pieces. They are just missing the dog like Max Crosby's, but not every team can have these guys. So other than that, I think this D-line is actually quite serviceable and should not be a huge problem after the Matthew Judon trade. And if some of the rookies like Braden Trice, Brandon Dordos, or Ruggiero hit as early as this year, it won't be the strength, but it still should be like middle of the pack defensive line. That's, I think, the upside that they can definitely reach and are actually really close to that. Like I don't see them like totally outperform the expectation of kind of being as of right now like middle of the pack defensive line. With those guys hitting, they could be move from 17 to 13, something like that, because your key guys are not guys that you count on to improve significantly. If anything, you have question marks about Grainger and Matthew Judon coming back from injuries, right? Then you go to linebackers room, and while this is not a strength of this team, this is nothing you are worried about again, because Caden Ellis is a really nice player. There is someone that can reach even like that impactful starter tier, where I really talk about guys that are impactful starters, in my opinion, as like starting to be plus for who they are, for the presence that they bring on the field. To me, if you are a decent starter, you are a slight negative for the team. Good starter is kind of where it goes equal. Impactful starter, you are bringing that plus. Amazing, and you can kind of go from there. Obviously, good backup, 2 minuses, solid backup, 3 minuses if you like want to go on the scale of like plus and minuses, which these guys bring. So Caden Ellis is really kind of neutral, close to being a plus. Nate Ledman, similar, really close to just be neutral for this team. As a combine, this is decent enough linebacker duo. With Troy Anderson as in their back pocket, I'm not worried about this room. This should be nice enough room. For linebackers, this is kind of middle of the pack, because there's not many great linebackers in the league. But as of like their quality across numerous positions, because I try to create these rankings like position less, I'm ranking them like based on their quality as obviously linebackers, but I want good starter as a wide receiver being the same like neutral as good starter for linebacker. So that was kind of what was behind this. Obviously, some positions, those pluses, for example, if you have elite starter quarterback, it's not 3 pluses, it's like 5 pluses. But in the middle, it should kind of be really, really equal. And then you go to the secondary, and we start with safeties, where man oh man, you just created the best secondary in the league, the best safety room in the league. I think Justin Simmons is around the impactful starter mark for me. So next to Jesse Bates as an elite starter, and you have DeMarco Hillams, who like immediately becomes one of the better backups, and guy that I was actually excited to see develop this season, but he might not get that many opportunities behind this duo. You are super happy. And even like Richie Grant, like this guy is also good, or like in terms of backup. So this room is deep and this room is elite. Like, what more do you want? Jesse Bates, I would say right now he is the best safety in the league. I can take an argument about Antoine Winfield, but really no one else. Like, not even Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think, enters the territory for me to say number 1 guy for the safety position. I think it's either Jesse Bates or Antoine Winfield. I would give slighter edge to the Jesse Bates. Bring, top 15 safety in Simmons, and you are really, really cooking. So definitely an A+. Like I said, I did not update my rankings post those acquisitions. And now we talk about the cornerback room. And that's where, despite me ranking them pretty favorably, like overall as a B, I see them having a potential problem here. And that potential problem is, like, can AJ Terrell kind of be healthy? Because it's not a certainty with him. Like, he's really good and he stayed healthy last year. Will he do it this season? If so, they have their number 1, and then they have a bunch of guys that they don't have really solid number 2 piece, because the Alfred is more of a slot guy, and then it's like Mike Hughes, Anton Hamilton, Clark Phillips to be that guy next to AJ Terrell. So if you are facing some teams that have really 2 exceptional weapons, if you are facing Eagles, if you are facing San Francisco, if they obviously don't trade Ayuk, that's where I would expect their plan of attack is going to be targeting that number 2 corner for whoever he's going to defend. That's where this Falcons team can have an issue, especially when you really know that your pass rush is good enough right now with Matthew Judon, but not anything exceptional. So if you're seeing a playoff match with this and this being a problem, you kind of know, and they don't really have a sound way out of this. Like, there is no expectation from like Hamilton, Hughes or Phillips to really emerge as a nice number 2 corner. If anyone has like the potential to improve, it's D. Alford, but he mostly will play as a slot. One thing that we have not talked about is Raheem Morris. Here I'm ranking him as defensive mind for this team, not as a head coach. So he counts with B, which to me is kind of great defensive mind. Not necessarily a huge positive for this team, but definitely a guy that should get the job done. And we'll see if he can be more than that. It's his second stint as a head coach. He was head coach like 15 years ago. Ever since that, he tried to get back to this opportunity. It's kind of similar to Dan Quinn, only Dan Quinn had only like 6 years from being fired from the Falcons. So, good hire, not someone I am like absolutely enthusiastic about. When you, for example, compare him to Mike McDonald for the Seahawks, that's the defensive head coach that I want. Not necessarily Raheem Morris, but really nothing bad about Raheem Morris and his defense. And he has plenty to work with. So overall, this team, especially on the paper, if they won't struggle with injuries, Grady Jarrett, AJ Terrell, anyone from the offensive line, and Kirk Cousins post-injury, like if that's not a problem, this team will make noise. This team is justifiably really like, I don't think, like runner-up in terms of like running away with odds to win this division, and justifiably so. On the paper, this is really good team. Well, it could have been even a better team if you were like, yeah, this is our year, or perhaps this and next year we treat like kind of like San Francisco, like we are going on. They try to split it, to have a successor plan, but I just don't think you can in this league unless you have Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow. Like those are 4 guys in which I do trust, and you can make successor plan because you not for them obviously, but to replacing guys within your organization, because you will eventually lose several really good guys on rookie contracts because you have that guy and you are successful and all the players look good because you made them look good. But for Falcons, especially when you are starving for success and everything screams like we are going for it, it's still a head scratching for what they have done in terms of this draft. So I'm excited to see this team play, like for sure. Like I have almost no knocks on this team current roster. I think they are really doing a nice job of improving it. But it just pisses me off how much better it could have been for both situations. Like we want to have success in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, as well as we want to have success right now. But trying to do both, I think, diminishes your chances to actually make a nice this year. And I don't think you actually set up yourself to the best for the future with like the controversy with when Michael Penix sees the ground and under which condition. So with that, we end up this Falcons episode. I'm really looking forward to what you guys have to say about my take on the Falcons and this offseason. How do you feel about this team? The floor for this team, I can say, like should be 8 wins. Like in this division, with all the talent, even if Kirk is not like fully prepared to go week 1, even if you have some problems with the line, even if you have some problems with the O-line, if anyone goes down, you should not be winning less than 8 wins. It just should not be possible. Like you've done that with Desmond Ridder and lesser talent. And the ceiling, 12 wins. I think you can absolutely storm this division. I would not be surprised if you go 6-0 in this division. Like this division is not great. And yeah, going 6-5 in the rest of the games is definitely possible. Like, it's not like you are having goblet of a schedule. Let me check on it. Like, what's the hardest games you are having? Okay, 2 of them are in the first 3 weeks. So their first 3 weeks are actually really going to be important because, well, once we will see Kirk Cousins coming back from injury and you are facing Pittsburgh at home, really tough game, you know, with the defense. Then you are going to Philly and then you are hosting Kansas. So if you start 0-3 and Kirk doesn't look great, could this thing really implode from the inside? And fans like, we want Michael Penix. Well, that could get ugly, but I don't expect that with Raheem Morris. And I would say they had like 6 months to patch the situation from the draft, saying, well, this is our plan. Kirk understands it. Michael understands it. Please, fans, roll with us. Despite we are 0-3, we played really, really tough team. So this can happen. But then the rest of the schedule, the hardest game you are playing after that is like at home against Dallas. Yeah, that really is not a schedule that you cannot win 12 games with this type of roster talent. I see them winning their division. I see them like winning their home game. Do I see them doing much more? Probably not. Still Kirk Cousins in the playoffs. There are still some holes in this team despite it being really nice roster. And like being top 8, like that's a good achievement. But then do I see them go to Lions? Do I see them go to the Eagles? Do I see them go to the 49ers and win a road game in January with Kirk Cousins? I don't. So that's my take on Falcons. Let me know down in the comments where you agree, where you disagree. See you with the next one. Bye.